So, hello, welcome once again. Today, on this day 13 Anil, I decided to make this video just in front of this cornfield here, which is all coming to harvest. So it's perfect. The corn is turning yellow, it's ripening. What better place could it be for Anil Day? But of course, today I'm going to be talking about the Trecena of Toj, and Toch is all about payment. It's all about service. It's all about sacrifice. That's what that 13-day period is about. And, this could be a great theme. I imagine kind of like I was thinking the other day, and something came to me with regards to thinking about this Trecena and how, like, sometimes we'll spend 2 weeks doing a fast, or we'll spend time doing a program. What about having 13 days of gratitude, 13 days of service, 13 days of giving? And trying to do something on each of those days, because this is the Trecena to do it in. And of course, as we go through the days, hopefully I'll bring you more clarity on what kind of service you could attach to that as you go through it. That 13 Ganil, receiving the maize, receiving this golden abundance that comes from it. And now it's time to give back. Now it's time to do something about it. So, of course, in all my videos, I'm putting up the link for ODIM, the NGO that's working here in San Pablo and San Juan with medical and educational things for the people here, and really making a difference. And so, again, if you felt like you wanted to do something financially, then ODIM would be a great place to support. And there's plenty of other great NGOs around here as well. But there's more that we can do, and there's more that well, Toch is always considered to be the Nawal of payment, of offering. It's also to do with debts. And sometimes we've run up debts and we don't realize that we had. Sometimes we've, like, it's like I always think about every drop of water that we've drunk, every morsel of food that we've tasted, like has come from somewhere. And of course, maybe we're at a restaurant paying for a meal or something like that. But we just take a lot of things for granted. And Toch gives us the opportunity to balance up those debts, to clear the slate, because sometimes, particularly if there's sickness around and that kind of thing, it's because we haven't been paying off our debts enough. It's because there's something that's hanging on and we need to energetically cleanse it. And that's what we can do during this time. Okay, so we're going to begin with the day of one Toch. And so this is kind of like making a new payment, a new form of payment, getting a new idea about ceremony, how you might like to do it, what you might like to do with it, what you might still have outstanding. It is the potential to clear debts on the day one Toch by making ceremony in whichever way you might see fit. And of course, clearing debts, they might be financial debts. Maybe it's kind of like you got some bills to pay. Toch days are usually good days to pay them off. But take some time to pay that attention to what you might have left behind, what you might not have been grateful enough for, what you might have forgotten. And see how that, when we balance that out, when we make that payment, it can bring us back into harmony. From one Toch, we're then going into two Tz'i. So Tz'i, the Nawal of faith and loyalty and justice and law. Tz'i, also the Nawal of the vices. And we see the number 2 as being, yes, it can be about love and relationships. It can be about unconditional love, as Tz'i can be. But what we see also is that number 2 can also represent choices. And those choices can be very stark choices. They can be heads or tails choices. Like the number 2, duality, polar opposites. And when we see it with Tz'i, well, what's Tz'i about? Well, Tz'i is about unconditional love, yeah? Tz'i can also be about law, legal matters. Tz'i can also be about faith and loyalty, where we choose to put them. And when we see that in this stark reality, it's like making your choices. Now, I said that Tz'i can also represent the vices. And 2 Tz'i could be very much be about like quitting something. It could be about seeing like the differences between two things, and saying, right, this I choose to keep, and this I choose to let go of. This I choose to be faithful to, and this I choose to release. It can be about choosing what we're loyal to and literally having it put in our faces, kind of like in black and white, as to what we want to put our loyalty to. Of course, with Tz'i representing or carrying the energy of unconditional love, and the number 2 also representing relationships, it could be asking you to look for the unconditional love within your relationships and look how and where you express that unconditional love within your relationships. From 2 Tz'i, we then move into 3 bats. 3 bats is always an interesting one to carry. The reason being, kind of like bats is this entertaining figure. They're usually pretty out there, they're pretty dynamic, they're the show person, as it were, getting out there and performing and bringing their art to the world. And yet the number 3 is kind of a little bit more introverted. The number 3 is kind of like looking within. And what I see with 3 bats, I often like to think of, well, if I was looking at the number 3 representing the home, and I was looking at bats representing the artist, 3 would make a natural kind of like interior designer or something like that. It's about looking within for your creative essence. It's about choosing not to focus on what you're putting out on stage, not to focus on what's going on in the outside world, but to look for the creativity within you. That's what 3 bats asks for you to focus on. And in the Trecena of Toj, it could be a great day to be giving thanks for the creativity that you find within yourself, to help you to further express that, to overcome any obstacles towards your creative expression. From 3 bats, we then move into 4 And so 4 the day of the physical journey. If there was ever a day to get on the road and to move around, to explore, particularly in the physical world, then 4 is that. The 4 representing that material plane of existence is getting out there and exploring exactly how the land lies. And of course, the famous explorer, the great explorer, the one who wants to explore everything that's going on in the world. That's what they're here to do. And so it's a great day for a road trip. It's a great day to get out and about. Go and explore your local environment. Even better, go and explore an environment that's not quite so local to you. Because wants novelty, needs to get out and do those kind of things. And once again, kind of like as we go through this, like 4 can also represent as the physical journeys. What could we give thanks for on that day? Well, we give thanks for our ability to make those physical journeys, something which after the events of the last year, I think that we're more focused on the ability to move, our liberty, our freedom is something that we kind of like, maybe we don't take so much for granted anymore. So giving thanks for our ability to move around is certainly something which will be a good thing for us. From 4 we then go into 5 So the house, the home. Harmony, leadership. Is about this cornstalk that's holding the head high in the air. It's holding the feet, the roots in the ground. The spinal column that holds us up straight. So it's about a day of support. It's about supporting your community. It's about supporting your household. And we see it with the number 5. And this is about putting your energy into it. Once again, a form of service. Looking after your community. Looking after your house. Making sure that everything is well supported. Everything is in its rightful place. is the one that teaches us to stand up straight. It is the one that brings us the courage and the bravery to stand up for what is right in life. And the number 5 is saying it's time to put some energy into it. It's time to stand up for what needs to be said, what needs to be done within your community to bring harmony, to bring peace, to bring balance. And as I said, this would be a fantastic form of service during the Trecena on 5 So from 5 we then go into 6 Ish, a day certainly to remember the mother within our homes, within our families, the mother of our families. Ish representing the mother, representing the divine feminine. Ish representing our connection to Mother Earth, the natural world. Also the magic that comes from Mother Earth. And the number 6 representing family. The number 6 representing ultimate stability. I know a great way of looking at this is it's a great day to be stabilizing our connection to Mother Earth. It's a great day to be stabilizing what we could term our magic in this world, our ability. But it's also, in this Trecena of Toj, what are we giving back for? We're giving back for the stability that our mother brings to our family. We're giving back to the Mother Earth in all forms, because the 6 representing the physical plane, but connected to the upper and lower planes as well. And seeing our connection to Mother Earth, doing something, going out there, making a difference, doing something to protect her, to look after her, another form of service, another form of payment. Today in service to Mother Earth, to bring stability to her. From 6 Ish, we'd then go into 7 Tz'ikin. So, I always get this image, the bird sitting on top of the pyramid, right? The bird sitting on top of the mountain. That for me is 7 Tz'ikin. Tz'ikin, the visionary, the one who is looking forward, the one who is high up in the air, seeing the future from their vantage point. Tz'ikin, the one who's bringing prosperity, and as I've said many times, this is not about figures in the bank balance. Prosperity is making sure that everything thrives. And yes, that might include your business or whatever, but we need to make sure the environment thrives so that our children can thrive. And so it's all connected in one way or another. So Tz'ikin, the one who comes up with the vision. And the number 7, well, 7 can represent decisions. So it might be a time to make a choice about the vision that you make. It might be a time to bring to finality your vision, because when we get to the top of the pyramid, that's the end point, right? And so this is kind of like saying it's a day to finalize your vision for the future. It's a day to finalize your vision for your prosperity and the prosperity of your children, the prosperity of your community. 7 Tz'ikin is also a day to make that choice. You may see many roads stretching out in front of you. You may have many different visions of how you might like your family or your village to prosper in the future. Well, 7 Tz'ikin is a day that's saying, pick a day, pick a way, pick a vision. It doesn't matter which one you choose, because the ones that are being presented to you by Tz'ikin, they're all good. But choose you must, because you can only follow one of them at a time. From 7 Tz'ikin, we then move into 8 Ajmak. So 8 Ajmak, the ultimate day of forgiveness, a ceremonial day of forgiveness. Ajmak, the acceptance of exactly who we are, each one of us and ourselves. Acceptance as human beings, acceptance as infallible. Acceptance as fallible, rather. Acceptance that we're going to fall over. See, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to use the wrong word or something like that, right? Like, we fall over, we make mistakes. That's the nature of being a human being, and that's part of how we learn. The acceptance of, like, the scars that we carry. The acceptance of the scars that others carry. The acceptance that none of us is perfect. But in our imperfection, we are perfect. In our imperfection, we're human. In our imperfection, we're lovable. And this is what makes us. This is what makes us different. This is what makes us interesting. This is what we're here to embrace. And 8, so the ceremonial day, the day of wholeness, is wholly embracing it. It's wholly accepting it. It's wholly forgiving. And so, for me, we'll be making a ceremony on 8 Ajmak. And part of that will be letting go of anything that we're holding on to. Like anybody that, like, maybe we think did us wrong in the past. We make a ceremony, we pay, we give back. And the same for the resolution of things where we maybe didn't play our best hand, as it were. making our ceremony to ask for forgiveness, whether it's from people in this realm or the other realm. And so, once again, the payment, the ceremony, coming through to resolve the situation, which may be causing an energetic debt, an energetic imbalance, because we're holding on to blame or shame or guilt or something like that. It's time to let it go to the fire. From 8 Ajmak, we then move into 9 Noch. So Noch, the Nawal of the brain, of knowledge, of thought, the Nawal of the problem solver. 9 Noch I find a particularly interesting one, because Noch I generally feel as being a rather masculine Nawal. It represents the left side of the brain, which is thought to be the the male hemisphere, the one that controls the right hand, rather than the artistic side of the brain. And so, like, we could see that Noch can be rather logical. It can be very kind of like putting things in boxes and making them, organizing. But here we have it with the number 9, the number of the divine feminine, the number of life. And I feel like if Noch was a square box, the number 9 is knocking the edges off it, rounding it out. I see that 9 Noch as being feminine logic. And it's certainly a day to consult with the women, to ask for their input, for asking for, like, in whatever shape or form, ask your female friends for their input on your problems, so that you can help to get them sorted. So 9 Noch, as I said, the other way that we could see the number 9 is as a number of life. And it's like solving life's problems. This is a very, very important day, perhaps to give your offering, to make your service on 9 Noch, in order to solve the problems of the life with the information that you carry. Because it's all in there somewhere. We just got to put it together. And maybe you can help your life or the life of others with the knowledge that you yourself carry. From 9 Noch, we then go into 10 Tijax. Tijax being the warrior, the obsidian blade. Tijax being the healer. And the number 10 representing this, it's hands coming together in agreement. It's society. It's corporation. This is a wonderful day for community healing. 10 Tijax, there couldn't be a better day for healing society. Now, Tijax in its nature, Tijax, the surgeon, well, surgery kind of hurts, right? It's not pain-free, because you've got to cut out what is causing the issue. And so 10 Tijax may be a great day for performing that surgery, to remove anything which is causing an issue within your community, within your society, so that the healing can begin. It's kind of like if you have something that's trapped in the wound, the healing can't happen before you remove the shrapnel or whatever it is. So you've got to get it out, and it's going to hurt, but it has to be done. So 10 Tijax, as I say, it's a wonderful day for a community healing ceremony. And it's a wonderful day, to kind of look with your discernment at what might needs to be removed in order to bring this agreement, in order to bring this coherence. From 10 Tijax, we then move into 11 Kawok. This might be a bit of a wild and rainy day, as it were, especially here. Kawok being the rainstorm. Kawok bringing, kind of like this maize growth. We're sort of halfway through rainy season. And you can see behind me how lush everything is. When I'm doing my video next February, you'll see we'll be in the yellowness of the hills. But right now it's green, it's vital. The last crop of maize has been planted before the solar zenith transit last week. And we see the fruition coming. And it's all come because of the rain. Because of this dense rain that falls here at this time of year. Kawok is also seen as the midwife. Kawok is seen as the female aspect of healing. She has Kan in her left side, the wisdom of the women. Kawok is the day to wash away the obstacles. It's the day to birth something new in. It's the day to get healed, for sure. I see this partnership, Tijax making the surgery, and then Kawok coming along and doing that actual healing. Now, where does that healing derive from? Well, the number 11. The number 11, well, it could derive from anywhere. It's all over the place. It's suggesting a non-linear route. And so it's kind of like, when you pick things up in a way that you hadn't expected them, and you get an answer that you hadn't expected that comes out of the blue, that's kind of like the way the 11s can work. Because, like, they're taking them from unrelated, unknown directions and bringing them together. And in this case, it's bringing together that energy to bring healing, to wash away the obstacles. Now, the number 11 can also be rather wild in its nature. And so it could be quite stormy. And sometimes I look on Kawok as being tough love. Sometimes it's going to tell you the truth in order to make that healing happen, in order to make you go through what you need to go through. Once again, is it going to hurt? Probably. Is it necessary for the healing? Absolutely. And sometimes it might be drawing on some very diverse areas in order to make that happen. From 11 Kawok, we'll then go into 12 Ajpu. So Ajpu representing the sun, Ajpu representing the path to the divine. Ajpu is a day on which we go searching for our divine path. Ajpu is a day on which we go searching for the hero within ourselves. Now, the search for that hero may bring up some issues because, of course, when you go on a quest, you don't expect you're just going to walk it, right? There's going to be some things that come along that stand in your way. You're going to have to face some fears that you weren't sure about or whatever. But ultimately, that quest for the divinity within is what we're all here for. We're all here to get to that point. And one way that I can also see Ajpu, or translate Ajpu, or talk about Ajpu, is as the path to ascension. And surely we're all here, in one way or another, on our path to ascension. We're all here going up that spiral of evolution of the soul. So that's maybe what we're here to do. Now, what's going to assist us in this today? Well, the number 12 represents all of life's experiences. So it's a question on 12 Ajpu of looking back on all of your life's experiences and understanding what can help your hero to move forward on that day. But also, as we're in the Trecena of Toj, giving thanks for those life experiences, giving thanks for the life experiences which have helped your soul to evolve. And then finally, we're going to move into 13 Imox. So, Imox representing the lake, Imox representing the ocean of consciousness, Imox representing our dreams and our collective consciousness, our connectivity, our joint dreams. But here, connected with the number 13 representing spirit, the number 13 representing the ancestors. And so 13 Imox is a perfect day to go and sit beside the lake and tune into the ancestors, to be beside the water. Why? Because it can be also overwhelming. The 13, I often see kind of like if you were crashing from high to low, from high to low, from high to low. That's a distinct possibility. And with the power of Imox tuning you into the collective consciousness, you want to be very, very discerning on 13 Imox what consciousness you are tuned into. Because it's like all your little psychic antenna are all turned up to 13. And so this is like, I recommend on all Imox days, kind of like trying to detune, well, I mean, maybe it's just recommend on all days, detuning from social media and the media and that kind of thing, but however that might be. But on 13 Imox, it might be just so overwhelming. If you're hanging on your phone all day, if you're like connected in that way, you might feel really overwhelmed because it's almost like the psychic network is already saturated on 13 Imox. And so, like, it's a great day just to get out by the water, if you can, by the sea, by the ocean, by the lake, or what have you. Detach from the rest of society. Get out on your own, wherever it might be, And remember what your dreams are. Remember what your ancestors' dreams are. And remember what dreams Spirit might have for you. And to conclude that Toj Trecena, it would be a great day to make an offering on behalf of yourself, on behalf of your ancestors, for helping to bring their dreams into the world. So, that's the Trecena of Toj. I hope that that has been useful to guide you through the next 13 days. And I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time for the Trecena of Ik. Thank you.